Hey folks, Rich here, South Florida Beekeeping with Rich. So recently we did a review on the Chinese feeder, and it didn't work out so well with the dried sugar. So I said that, well, I guess I'm gonna have to make the fondant for first time ever. Been keeping bees down here for 8 years. Fondant is just not something we've ever really needed in South Florida. But okay, so I went up and looked up a good article on making fondant. I chose to use the article from Backyard Beekeeping, and the title of the article is How to Make Fondant for Bees. I didn't even watch a video, I just read the article on it. 4 parts sugar to 1 part water equals out to 4 pounds of sugar to 2 cups of water and a quarter teaspoon of vinegar. And the most important thing, the two most important things, is to one, have a thermometer, a candy thermometer, that reads in the 235-degree range, and an immersion blender. This is her tip, and I followed it, and it worked beautifully well. I am not going to stand here and tell you how to make fondant. There are hundreds and hundreds of articles in beekeeping and thousands upon thousands of articles on just straight cooking shows on how to make fondant. I'm just going to tell you that I followed the directions and it worked perfectly. And so I poured this Chinese cell frame full of fondant. The next morning, it all hardened up perfectly. And it's been sitting around for several days waiting for us to do this video. I also, if you will remember, mentioned to you that I had these old, fully drawn out plastic cells that, and when I referred to the old early 1800s beekeepers filling these with sugar water. And I want to tell you something. I thought I had completely filled this with fondant. All right, I poured in this hot, gooey mess. I took a spatula and I spread it around, and it looked like it was full, full, full. And I left it overnight. And the next morning I came out, and it's like, okay, there are some cells that are full. But I will say this, if you had it in mind to do something like this, I wouldn't bother, because apparently the thick gooey mass leaves a film on the surface so that you think you filled it up. But by the time it's had overnight to settle, there's a little bit in the bottom of each cell, but not too many cells are full. So, not worth the doing. And then what was left went into a regular frame, cut, one of the ones that I cut down and made up this way. So we're going to put these two in this hive, which is just one of the swarm hives that is, building up, instead of the rapid feeder, which is all they really need. This is just an option. Yep, and there is nothing left in there.
It's just an experiment. There's nothing wrong with the rapid feeder.
No, no, no. Love my rapid feeders. Love them to death. I just do this as an experiment. You'll see how this works in a second. Alrighty. So since I don't want this hive to expand, I'm going to put a queen excluder on here. And since we can get some chilly days, and this is a young hive, I'm going to do one of my favorite tricks, which is to take a regular inner cover and put on top of that, because bees have been going through small spaces for a long time. But we're going to put this on top of there. I did not want to expose them to this much open area, then make them have to heat it. That is a tip and technique that works very well, particularly in early January down here. So we will come back in 1 week and see what's left in here. And we will come back. Oops, sorry. No reason not to put this back where it belongs.
Yeah, storing it on top doesn't hurt anything.
No.
And you can't forget where you put it.
Yep. So that's there, and we'll get this over here. You can speed through this section. I won't talk. So I am assuming that the bottle of 2-to-1 that we gave them, almost 2-to-1, that I gave them is going to be sucked dry. I'd be very surprised if it isn't.
Looks empty to me.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Happy bees. Nobody's bothering me at all. It's like, oh, it's the Candy Man. So did you get a close-up of this?
So that's what it looks like with the fondant.
Yep. It's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
But the fondant, made exactly according to their directions, is a little on the soft side, which is wonderful. It's perfect as far as I'm concerned. No reason to think anybody's going to come up. So we will come back in 1 1 week. Come back next weekend. We will check and see how well they've consumed the fondant in here. We'll check and see how well they've consumed the fondant there. Because quite honestly, the South Florida beekeeper, I've never seen any reason to feed fondant other than all of a sudden I needed a way to feed it vertically. So just an experiment, not one I'll probably do much with in the future, but just wanted to give it a try.
Except for this hive.
Yeah, except for this hive. Well, this hive is not permanent, of course. This hive is just an experiment, and I needed to carry it into a second year to see if they continue to build comb down and completely fill the frames or not, or whether they're going to continue to keep their frames less than full and just swarm without having used all their available room. These are the questions that I want answered on this hive at this point. I've proven to my satisfaction that the frame design is perfectly feasible, that there is other options besides the Langster frame and Langster style frames. So that's it for now. You will see me again in the blink of an eye from your standpoint, but a week from now from mine. So have a happy December, everybody.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. Hey, folks. Well, it's 2 seconds later or a week later from our standpoint. So we're giving them a week to see what they do with that fondant that we gave them. We'll start with this one. We did 2 different fondant experiments in this one.
Well, they're on it.
Yeah, but they're not doing much.
No.
The reason for that is we had a nice rain. The loquat trees in full bloom. The moringa started blooming again.
Yeah, but they're nibbling. Look.
Our winter season is there. Oh yeah, they've been
There's
eating.
lots of
They've
nibble
been eating
marks.
at it.
And there's nothing on the ground.
Just really slow. Oh, I've been checking the tray back here daily. There's nothing going on the tray.
Nope, they haven't dropped it on the outside the hive. They haven't dropped it on the tray. They're nibbling at it. I'd say that's a success.
Well, they're getting what they want, and they're certainly happy. Look at the work on look at the effort going on the front of this. Oh, they seem to be enjoying this a bit more. Yeah.
Maybe because it's smaller quantities.
Could be. Though we still, yeah, they're okay. They're biting at it. This was all very smooth before. Yep,
Yeah, it's all nibbled.
They're nibbling at it.
Yeah.
Okay, that worked. I like the idea of the bigger ones because obviously the problem with doing it with regular size cells is that with the amount of surface tension on the heavy sugar syrup, it doesn't always fill them. The big ones, there's not a problem with it. But yeah, there's nothing to eat in here inside the rapid feeder.
Yeah, it's just there to keep it out of the way.
Just insulation.
So you don't forget where you put it.
So you speed up the next few seconds while I break this open. I didn't even bother to spray my arms. That's interesting.
Are your bellows broken?
Oh no, they just kind of moved halfway back. Well, let's see, a fair number of bees on the ground. Here.
On the ground?
On the base of it.
Oh, hey. They went to town.
They're enjoying it.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, the others are used to getting fed somewhat. Look at that. Wow. Okay.
And this is a week.
Yep, I'd say those are happy bees.
They decimated that.
Because I had that nice and full.
You did. And they're still in there.
Okay, so these Chinese feeder frames used with the fondant.
So they're fondant friendly,
yeah,
but not so much damp sugar.
Yeah.
So you have
damp
to go.
Sugar didn't work. So you could put a little bit of protein powder or something in the bottom of those. You could put chunks of pollen patty in there if you wanted to, and you can put fondant in there. It works out just fine.
So they're fondant friendly, but not so much damp sugar.
Yeah.
Well, at least we have one good outcome.
The other outcome isn't a bad outcome. It's just much of an outcome. All right. They're enjoying themselves. And the timing is just right, because particularly with the rain starting again after that little dry spell, everything's going to be coming into bloom now, and the spring season is going to be off to an early start this year, undoubtedly. So tomorrow is December 21st, which is the winter solstice, which means the shortest day and the longest night. And so after Sunday morning, every day is going to be longer than the day before, and in about 2 weeks, it'll be sufficiently different that the bees are going to really be noticing it, and they're going to be stimulated to begin thinking about spring. Obviously, if they were in winter cluster somewhere up north, they don't get to see that so early, but down here, it makes a big difference. They get out and get busy. Like I said, last year I had the capped drone brood on January 1st, which means that by December 26th, the drone eggs had been laid, had matured up, and were at the point where they were ready to get capped. So that's only another week away. That's it. The experiment was to see whether or not these Chinese feeders worked with fondant. They did. The fondant recipe I used made what they would call a softball fondant rather than a hard fondant, because that's all we really needed down here. And I think that's it. So happy holidays to everybody. This will come out next Friday, so it'll be right after Christmas. So hope everybody has a happy new year, and we'll see and do some more videos in the next few weeks. Take care.